Israel just did it again. Just when Hezbollah was starting to get comfortable after months of being lulled to sleep by relative inactivity, Israel struck again, and this time in force. In the most aggressive strike in over a year, Israel took out Hezbollah's chief of staff, the number 2 leader in the entire organization. This operation that took out Hezbollah's de facto chief of staff, since their last chief of staff was killed by Israel, was called Operation Black Friday. The Prime Minister's office said in a statement, quote, "A short while ago, the IDF struck in the heart of Beirut, the Hezbollah chief of staff, who led the terrorist organization's military buildup and armament." It also said that Netanyahu, quote, "ordered the strike on the recommendation of the defense minister and the IDF chief of staff. The Jewish state is determined to act to achieve its objectives anywhere at any time." 4 other terrorists were also killed in this strike. Now, the guy who was killed was Haytham Ali Tabatabai, Hezbollah's second in command after Secretary General Naim Qassem. Hezbollah said in response, "They, the Mujahideen, will advance with strength and courage to overthrow all the projects of the Zionist enemy and its patron, America." Apparently, this was a pretty serious dude because the US State Department was offering a $5 million reward for information leading to his capture or location through its Rewards for Justice program. And this guy has been a specially designated global terrorist since 2016. After this attack, there's definitely a concern that Hezbollah will respond, but I believe that Israel will be ready for it. Of course, the whole reason for this more aggressive attack by Israel was because Hezbollah wouldn't listen to smaller warnings to stop rearming in a direct violation of the ceasefire that went into effect in November 2024. Something big had to happen, had to be done, or else Hezbollah would just continue to rearm and build up their arsenal and become just as dangerous as they were before October 7th. Meanwhile, Israel has been hitting some pretty serious targets in Gaza after Hamas continues to violate the ceasefire. On Saturday, the IDF targeted multiple Hamas terrorists and leaders in precision strikes throughout the Gaza Strip. In one of the strikes, Ala Haddadeh, the head of supply for the terrorist group's production headquarters, was eliminated. The IDF said that, quote, "During the war, he operated to transfer weapons from Hamas's headquarters to battalion and field commanders for use against IDF troops." Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that since the ceasefire went into effect on October 10th, quote, "Hamas has not stopped violating it, and we are acting accordingly. There have been several attempts by them to infiltrate our territory beyond the ceasefire-instituted yellow line and try to harm our soldiers. We thwarted these with great force and responded, exacting a very heavy price. Many terrorists were eliminated and others were captured from the tunnels in Rafah." And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You'd think that after all this, that maybe Hamas would be sick and tired of getting destroyed again and again. Maybe they would want to give up or surrender. But no, a senior Hamas leader just came out with a very bold statement to the contrary. We'll get into that in just a second, but first, bringing you accurate information about what is happening in Israel and the Middle East like we do in these videos. It's not easy or cheap, and we'd like to ask you, if you find value in this channel and the information we're bringing to the world every week, please consider joining our team in producing these videos by supporting us monthly. We don't have any paid advertisers, and we're not backed by any big media networks. Everything we create is made possible by people like you who believe in standing with Israel and sharing the truth. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter, giving a clear, honest voice to what's actually happening here in Israel. If you're able to join us, we have a really cool members program for our monthly donors. You get access to a special Telegram group with behind-the-scenes content, updates on our volunteer work in Israel, special store discounts, prayer requests, a monthly live stream with some of our team, and much, much more. Just click the link in the description below to join our members program today and become a part of a growing community of hardcore Zionists who are standing for the truth. In a shocking statement, although it shouldn't be a shock since terrorists have no qualms about lying openly, senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan said that Hamas never agreed to lay down its weapons as part of President Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan for the Gaza Strip. Watch this clip.
التفاوض الذي جرى في شرم الشيخ لم يكن مطروحا فيه بحال من الأحوال ولا بكلمة واحدة مسألة نزع السلاح. هناك أي موافقة في يوم من الأيام على فكرة نزع سلاح الشعب الفلسطيني أو المقاومة الفلسطينية لا من حماس ولا من غير حماس من الفصائل.
The world needs to understand that these are the people that everyone is trying to make a ceasefire with. Hamas isn't going to surrender. The only reason they would agree to a ceasefire and have agreed in the past to a ceasefire is so that they can rearm, regroup, and attack Israel once again, except much harder. Speaking of Hamas terrorists, you remember those terrorists that were trapped in a tunnel in the Gaza Strip? Well, it looks like they are starting to get pretty hungry. On Friday, 17 terrorists attempted to escape the tunnels, which are in the IDF-controlled part of Gaza. After a pursuit and a firefight, 11 terrorists were killed and 6 were captured. So the terrorists emerged from the tunnel shaft early Friday morning looking for food and water. The IDF detected the terrorists moving out of the tunnels and they fired on them, causing a few of them to retreat back underground. The rest fled, and after a 24-hour manhunt, 11 of them were killed and 6 captured. According to one of the captured terrorists, there were about 30 terrorists holed up in this tunnel, along with 10 bodies of deceased terrorists. They left the tunnel because they really needed some food and water. And this really illustrates the situation right now in the Gaza Strip. We have friends who are stationed there in the IDF-held parts of Gaza as per the ceasefire agreement, who tell us that they are being attacked every day by Hamas terrorists. Even though there's a ceasefire in action, Hamas is still attacking the IDF. Guys, a disturbing story just came out that shows that Hamas had been planning October 7th for years, and maybe even more carefully and strategically than we ever imagined. For 5 years leading up to October 7th, Hamas was quietly building what would turn out to be its most dangerous weapon. Not a rocket or tunnel, but data. Behind the scenes, a 2,500-strong intelligence arm systematically monitored nearly 100,000 IDF soldiers infiltrating private WhatsApp groups, avatar posing on social media, and mapping every gate, camera, and armory on Israeli bases. Basically, a surgical campaign of observation, gathering information from soldiers' TikToks, graduation photos, and even mundane base videos to reconstruct real layouts of Israeli military infrastructure. That collected intel then fueled a terrifying innovation. Realistic simulators and VR headsets inside of Gaza tailored to train Hamas operatives for infiltration. According to Israeli officers, the models were so precise that even seasoned IDF soldiers admitted they'd never seen their own bases mapped out with such clarity. A senior officer said, quote, "We never imagined how accurate they were," and an Air Force officer said, "Hamas knew the base better than I did, even though I served there for many, many years." Guys, as terrible and horrific as October 7th was, I believe it was a miracle that it wasn't worse than it was and that there were not more people killed in this attack. Remember, even in all the craziness that's happening in the world, God's got it all under control. He has Israel under his eye, under his protection. Psalm 125 verse 2 says, "As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people from this time forth and forevermore." Amen. That's it for today, guys. Don't forget to check out our awesome members program for our monthly donors. You can just click the link in the description below if you want to join that today. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.